Good morning. I'm Aisha Khalid, and I'll be your host for today's episode of Quiet Echo. I went looking for a book this week. After everything we've written about Gloria Gaynor losing her home over $3,500, homeowners in Anchorage opening their mailboxes to find their assessments had jumped 40%, Florida legislators asking whether property taxes should exist at all, wanted to know if anyone had put all the pieces together. If someone had asked the question we've been circling around all week and followed it to its conclusion. I found the book on Amazon. It's called End Property Tax: How America's Oldest Tax Steals Homes and How We Stop It. The first pages stopped me cold. Geraldine Tyler was 94 years old when the government came for her home. She owed $2,300 in property taxes. The county sold her condo for $40,000 and kept every penny, including $25,000 that belonged to her. Benny Coleman, a retired Marine, lost his Washington, D.C. duplex over $134. Uri Raffali lost his Michigan home over $8.41. $8. I sat with that number for a long time. The book makes a case I haven't heard anyone else make quite so plainly. Property tax, the authors argue, is the hidden rent. You can pay off your mortgage, frame the papers, hang them on the wall, and you still don't own your home. Miss a payment, and the county can take it. Your tax bill can double because a stranger bought the house next door. The system treats homeownership as perpetual tenancy. Perpetual tenancy. That phrase has stayed with me. It's what George was describing when he told us about Gloria Gaynor, a woman who did everything right, paid off her mortgage, lived in her home for 25 years, and is now being wheeled out of her own living room because she got confused during a pandemic and missed one bill. It's what Lars was pushing against when he explored Jesse's idea about taxing debt instead of homes. It's what Chloe was naming when she connected Pennsylvania to Florida, to Alaska, and said this isn't a regional story anymore. The book doesn't just diagnose the problem. It answers the question critics always ask: where would the money come from? Australia exempts owner-occupied homes from land tax entirely. Germany's effective property tax rate is 1/30 of America's. Singapore taxes owner-occupants at a fraction of what investors pay. These nations fund their schools, pave their roads, pay their police, without threatening to take grandma's house. The authors draw on state-level experiments from Texas to Florida, economic research, and international models to show that protecting homeowners is not only morally necessary, it's fiscally possible. The money exists. The question is whether we have the will to find it. One line from the book keeps echoing in my mind. A home paid for should be a home kept. This is not a radical proposition. It is the promise America made to homeowners and quietly broke. That's the question, isn't it? Not whether we can afford to change the system, but whether we're willing to admit the system is broken. This week at the Cedar Valley News, we've heard from readers across the country. Jesse proposed taxing debt instead of homes. Steve Levi told us what's happening in Anchorage. Jane Lisbeth reminded us to check on our elderly neighbors. Not just to say hello, but to make sure they understand their rights. Dan called us to action. One neighbor, one conversation, one act of practical love. But action without understanding is just motion. Before we can fix something, we have to see it clearly. That's what this book does. It names what we've been dancing around. It calls the hidden rent what it is. And it asks whether we're ready to keep the promise we made or keep pretending we never broke it. I'm not here to tell you what to think. That's not what Saturdays are for. But I am here to ask, what does ownership mean if it can be taken away for $8? What kind of system lets a 94-year-old woman lose $25,000 of her own equity because she owed $2,300? What are we protecting? Families or revenue streams? The book is available on Amazon. I'll put the link in the show notes. Read it. Argue with it. Share it with your neighbors. But whatever you do, don't look away. The quiet ones are starting to ask questions. And questions, asked long enough and loud enough, have a way of becoming answers. I'm Aisha Khalid, and this has been Quiet Echo for Saturday, January 24th. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time. Keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open.